Hey, it's me, Unleash Music. Welcome to my Religious Life video blog, and here it is. This is it, folks. The last one that you all know about this one. It's going to be the last Sunday of, you guessed it, Epiphany. So what comes next? A list of things. Tomorrow is going to be Ash Wednesday. No, not tomorrow. This Wednesday is going to be Ash Wednesday. So I'll be figuring this out for this very special edition of my Religious Life video blog, and take it from there. And so is next Sunday's gonna be, you guessed it, first Sunday in Lent. So it's gonna be cool. And and I can't believe how time flies. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's read from Luke chapter 9, verses 28 through 36, and it says that you guessed it. Now about 8 days after these sayings of Jesus, took with him Peter and James and John, or should I say John and James, went up to the, you guessed it, on the mountain to pray. And while he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became dazzling white. And suddenly they saw two men, Moses and Elijah, talking to him, and they appeared in glory and were speaking of his departure, which he was about. Yeah, you guessed it. You guessed it. About to accomplish at Jerusalem. And now Peter and his companions were weighed down with sleep. But since they had stayed awake, they saw his glory, and the two men who stood with him just as they were leaving him. Peter said to Jesus, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 dwellings, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." Not knowing what he said, while he was, yeah, you guessed it, saying this, and you know what? Oh yeah, guess what? Here it is. A cloud came and overshadowed them, and they were, yes, terrified as they entered the cloud. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, "This is my son, my chosen. Listen to him." When the voice had spoken, Jesus was found alone, and they kept silent, and in those days told no one any of these things they have seen. So here's my observation for you, if you know what I'm saying about this supreme thing. Because here it is. Jesus tells his disciples that some of who are standing with him and will not taste death just before they see the kingdom of God. About 8 days. And he is transfigured in front of them, and immediately focus on his death to come. But what about the sleepy disciples? Well, they're falling asleep. Or should we say, "Wake up, you cannot sleep." Well, you know what I'm talking about. Because the sleepy disciples woke up to see his glory, in which, yeah, that's right, in which of you know who, that's right, he was shown to be supreme over Moses and Elijah, you know, standing for the Old Testament law and prophets. But did you know God the Father declares from a cloud that his Son pleases him, and that, you guessed it, and that all must appear him. Because Jesus then remains as Moses and Elijah just try to disappear into thin air. Here's another one. Because the disciples keep this amazing experience to themselves. So it's going to be, you know what I'm talking about. Now, here's why I have no clue whatsoever about this one. Because on the next day, it's from also Luke of chapter 9 of Luke, verses 37 to 43, and says, listen to this. On the next day, when they had come down from the mountain. Backtrack for me for this one. Because what if I told you they went up on the mountain to pray and they fell asleep and they live in the world of dazzling clothes and all that? Because everything else could be civilized. But the next day is this. They had to come down from the mountain, and a great crowd met him. And you know what? All of a sudden, just then, a man from the crowd shouted, "Teacher, I beg of you to look at my son. He is my only child." Suddenly, a spirit seized him, and all at once he shrieks, and it throws him into convulsions until he foams at the mouth, and mouths him and will scarcely leave him. I begged your disciples to cast it out. They could not. Jesus not. And guess what? Jesus tried to answer this for a reason. And you know why? Because you faithless and perverse generation, how much longer I must be with you? How longer must I be with you and bear with you? Bring your son here. While he's coming, yeah, that's right. While he's coming, the demon dashed him to the ground in convulsions. And Jesus tried to rebuke the unclean spirits and healed the boy. And God gave him back to his father. And you know what that means? They were, and all were astounded at the greatness of God. So that's why everyone was been amazed at all that he was doing. And that's why he said to his disciples, here's my final thought for you, if you know what I'm saying. Jesus cast out an evil spirits. And you know why? Because from a man's son, after his disciples try to be unable to do so. And that's the people are amazed at God's greatness. And Jesus returns to the renewed boy to his father. And why? Because while everyone marvels, because Jesus repeats to his disciples that he will be betrayed. Since this, you guessed it, next Sunday's first Sunday of Lent, because everybody knows he'll be betrayed, and they do not even understand and dare not to ask about this at all. So everybody has been amazed for now. But you know the moral of my Religious Life video blog story of this last Sunday of Epiphany? Like I said before, because everyone has been amazed. Because everything else is civilized. So get ready. Lent is coming. Or should we say Palm Sunday is coming, or whatever. You be the judge of this for yourself. Because now, Wednesday. Okay, now, you know what I'm saying. Wednesday, Ash Wednesday. This could be very important. Place our ashes inside our foreheads, as far as we're concerned. So I'll explain this Wednesday for a very special edition of my Religious Life video blog, and take from there. And next Sunday, expect a normal size for this first Sunday of Lent. You don't want to miss this on my Religious Life video blog, and I'll do this. And I'll post it on youtube.com/LHmusic1, and so it's my personal website as far as we're concerned. Anyways, that's my, you guessed it, Religious Life video blog story, and I'm sticking to it. We'll be right back with hashtag Omoquariers only on Facebook. It's up for grabs.